So, in all of Jesus' parables, in his teachings, there's always this little moment, this little nugget, this little turning point, if you will. In Hebrew, it's called the nimshal. The nimshal. It's the little moment where everything around this little phrase hangs. So this scene, where Jesus is in the home of one of the leading Pharisees, and he has this exchange with him about the woman who anoints his feet with the oil, and she's weeping and drying their feet with her hair. Like, there's just so much packed in here, and there's a few lines that Jesus says, these nimshal that are in there. So I just want to highlight for us just two little lines for us to focus on. So the first is this. So first, Simon is scandalized by all of this, and Jesus, this is the killer line where he says, then he turned to the woman, he's looking at the woman, and he says to Simon, so he's looking at her and he says to Simon, do you see this woman? Like, this isn't a throwaway line. This isn't like, do you see her? No, this is, do you see? Do you see this woman? The reality was he wasn't. He was absolutely blind to her. That doesn't mean that he couldn't see her in this space. He could not see her as a human being in her dignity, all of those things. So look, to love our neighbor as ourself, which is part and parcel of the Great Commandment, it demands at the very least that we try very, very hard to see them as they are, not just the externals as they are appearing to us through all of their coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms and all of the bravado and all of the bombacity, like to see beneath all that, to see beyond all that, to try and see them as you see yourself. How do you see yourself? As the character of a story. It's filled with drama and pain, and there's lots of other characters that have influenced you along the way, and so much has happened that's influenced like why you are the way you are and why they are the way they are. That they're not just this externals. There's a whole interior reality. This is a person that is carrying immense, invisible burdens, desperately needing the benefit of the doubt, like all of us do. Someone who is good, who is probably trying to be good, who's fumbling to be good, someone who has buried years of pain and wounds deep down. Do you see him? Do you see her? Like today, as soon as you leave Mass, you're going to be confronted by people where the Lord's going to ask you, hey, do you see him? Do you see her? Most of the time, just speaking for myself, the answer is no, Lord, I don't, and I don't want to. I got things to do, or they're really bugging me. Can't I just, in my mind, reduce them to less than a person so I can be angry at them and dismiss them or berate them in my mind? He's like, no. Do you see them? Jesus sees you, and he wants you to see them. That's the first one. Here's the second one. Second little tidbit, our second little takeaway. It sounds like a riddle. It comes at the end of the gospel passage. He says, but the one to whom little is forgiven loves little. The one to whom little is forgiven loves little. Okay, so in Jesus' mind, the prerequisite for the capacity of great love, the prerequisite for great love is great forgiveness. You want great love, you first have to have great forgiveness. And unless it's not totally obvious, we are here alive on this earth for no other reason but great love. Like, we're here to experience and participate in great love, to be a conduit of great love, to become great love. We're here for great love. That's what we're here for. And the prerequisite is great forgiveness. We must experience great forgiveness. Look, I'm not saying, Jesus isn't saying that, like, only people who have had a horrible past People who've done horrific things. Only those people get to be able to love really deeply or greatly. That's not what it is. The reality is every single one of us, we're all this mixture of weeds and wheat. And what we are all so adept at is minimizing and hiding and coping and not letting Jesus in. We're really good at insulating ourselves from really seeing all the ways in which we need forgiveness and mercy. We're really good with coming up with lots of reasons why we don't really need to go to confession. There's a lot of people in our pews who come up with a lot of reasons why they don't really need to go to confession. Or if they do go to confession, why like this kind of shallow confession suffices. Father, it's been, I don't know, probably 11 months since my last confession. In that time, I think I lied maybe, and I could probably pray more. Wow, I'm going to call the Vatican. Like you are. Let's get your halo fitted. Look, for some people that's, I guess, as much as they can surmount. But the reality is, there's a lot more there. I'm just going to state it really simply. Like the sacramental crisis, really, that we face in the Catholic Church. We all focus on we just had the Eucharistic revival, and we're all focusing on the dwindling numbers of the faithful who recognize the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. And yeah, that's a problem. But if you ask me, the real sacramental crisis that we're facing is the sacramental crisis of confession. That's the crisis. The diminishment of Catholics when it comes to availing themselves of the great sacrament of mercy. They're just not coming. And the problem with that is that's where you experience great forgiveness, which enables you to experience and give great love. Maybe our world is so messed up because so few people now are experiencing great forgiveness. And because of that, they're not really able to give great love. Like the sheer number of adults who are just walking around with catastrophic wounds in their hearts, these catastrophic wounds in their souls, so convinced, so utterly convinced by the enemy that this sin, this habit, this memory, this story, this shameful failure, this is one that I have to take to my grave. There are so many of them who just limp and limp and limp and limp because the enemy's got them paralyzed through fear. You cannot say that. You cannot bring that up. Jesus is the only way out of it. And he's the one who's saying, great forgiveness brings great love. Like there is freedom, there's healing, there's mercy, there's a chance to be unburdened by what the enemy has forced you to carry. To experience great forgiveness is the prerequisite for great love. Amen.